Welcome everyone to the match we've waited a little bit of extra time for, but boy is it worth the wait. We have BBZ versus YUBI. I cannot express how legitimately excited I am to watch this game go down, watch it get casted. I've got Brendan here with me. We're going to be going through this one together.
They just had to ice the kicker just a bit for this match of the week. They had to, put a little spice to it, a little drama.
Yeah, make us think it wasn't going to happen, but here we are, luckily, getting to see these two teams clash. Seeing the bans roll out first. Nocturne and Galio taken away, get the whole combo out of that. A little bit of Jarvan. I'm surprised to see, I'm guessing that Shyvana's a takeaway from Jaffe, because Jaffe does play Shyvana top. I don't know that he's been practicing it necessarily, but if somebody's got a comfort pit, you want to take that away. Maybe you want to put some priority onto the top lane, just get some stuff going there. But overall, just some dive picks taken away from BBZ, just making sure that there's maybe some safety, keep those carries alive.
Jaffe, of course, is top lane that I played with a lot over the past 2 years in general. Me and him have been friends. We played a lot together. We played in FOF for 2 seasons, and he does play the Shyvana on top. It's one of his comfort picks, and one of his good champions, actually. He, of course, is more of a, I like to say, more of a weak side top laner.
For sure, yeah.
As they lock in the Trundle, which of course we saw in Outro Mouse Trundle last game, which is huge.
This is as BBZ as you can get. The first lock in on the Trundle, and the Ashe potentially is the response. So it's very interesting to take Ashe this early into the draft.
Ashe, of course, is really good in solo queue right now. He's probably actually the best AD carry in all of solo queue at the moment. I think she has the highest win rate from normal AD carries. And it's interesting that you would pick that into the Trundle pick, because Trundle's actually a pretty hard counter into Ashe.
Yeah,
the bot
they
lane,
do.
Of course,
they lock
Trundle
it in.
goes really good into support as well as jungle and top at the moment.
Yeah, so Trundle being that triple flex is actually a relatively safe option, but of course we would expect that one out of BBZ. But Ashe, that's just a lock in. That's going bot lane.
Absolutely, it's going bot lane 100%. I notice a lot in really Heroic and Luna that Red side, they often pick their AD and support here, as they're going to pick Kha'Zix.
Whoa! And that is effectively blind. That Trundle can very comfortably go into multiple lanes. They can pick into that Kha'Zix really nicely, and that is a susceptible pick. Obviously very, very effective if Utility Monster can get it off the ground, but I think you're risking a lot. And speaking of risking a lot, are we seriously going Kog'Maw into Ashe right now? Tef locks it! They do!
You go Kog'Maw into Ashe and Kha'Zix. That's interesting.
Well, this has to be the Lulu. There's no way that they're going to lock the Kog'Maw like this and leave the Lulu open. No? Prioritizing that Wukong for top? No. Yeah, surely that has to be Lulu.
Red could take this mid. Of course, Red is a former AD carry player who's now swapping to the mid lane role. By the way, on Yumi's side, they have the Corki pick for Yumi. YUBI, of course, is subbing in their top laner Joshi. Of course, Joshi is playing Rex, and he's a LCS Academy caster. Of course, Freelancer right now is on a business trip. The real story is that he's dipping BBZ because he's so terrified. And
yeah, no, and we get that. The hotel lobby that he's currently watching the stream from is all just a front. But yeah, no, Leona locked away, trying to get some aggression out of that bot lane. Makes a lot of sense. I'm very surprised to see the Cog Lulu lock into this Ashe. It's not necessarily the safety that you're expecting, but and the Corki taken in the mid lane. Obviously, this Lulu could flex, but that's not going to happen. But instead, the Blitzcrank rolls out. And
what I will say is about this about Joshi being top lane. Joshi is actually a very macro-assist player. I don't think his fingers are as good as his macro. I think his macro is really good, as you saw from the Rex Galos games. I think that he's one of the main voices of the team. And they're going to last pick for Joshi right here, by the way, who is a sub top laner. This is a lot of trust in your top lane.
A lot of faith going into him. I like seeing the Ziggs rolls out. That's got to be for mid lane. That's a late time to prioritize that Ziggs pick. You expect there's no bans for Ziggs. You're going to expect to see him relatively early in the draft. Such a strong pick right now, but making it all the way to the final round on BBZ's side. And I like giving Brian this Blitzcrank, but normally we like to see him on more of a playmaker, something that he's going to be able to dictate the game with. But that Leona and that Nautilus going away, putting him on the Blitzcrank. The Camille coming in, so that Trundle is going to be in the jungle.
Camille. Jaffe, of course, is famous for this Camille. It's one of his favorite picks in general, so I'm really excited to see how Jaffe's going to play on BBZ. Of course, Orphic was a former top laner, now he's swapping into the support role.
Yeah. No, and like just looking at these, assuming that the Shen does get locked in, yes, it does. I like actually what BBZ's put together here. I think that the Cog's gonna have time to stall thanks to that Ziggs. So you're gonna be able to deal with anything that's gonna be diving on him thanks to that Trundle, that Lulu. Camille's gonna be able to disrupt stuff on the backline. That Kha'Zix is going to be their biggest threat. I think getting empowered with the Shen. I think this is gonna come down a lot to laning, but I favor it to BBZ.
You know what? I'm gonna go against the grain here, and I'm actually gonna bet all my money on BBZ right now, dude. I'm poor man. My wages, they're not given to me. You know, I'm working for free, communism. But I'm gonna go with BBZ right now.
Yeah. No, we'll see as we roll into this game. I think it's going to be dictated a lot early. We've got two compositions that are going to, like, there's going to be fighting this game. There's no way you're going to not see it, especially with Ashe and Kha'Zix, and the Shen's going to force some skirmishes. And we're going to see how these guys roll into game now. Now, obviously, we are seeing some new pickups on both sides now. Jushi is on the side of Yuumi. Clearly, probably hasn't practiced with them as much. He's just a sub off of Rex. Very good player. And on the side of BBZ, player swaps. Different people playing different positions. Red up in the mid lane now. Tef on a new team. Orphic, a new team. Jaffe, new team. We're gonna see maybe some melding. You know, see some lack of coordination. We might see some problems. These guys have been trying really hard to get the team together, getting ready for today, for this game where all the pressure's going to be on. But we'll see how it comes together. I'm not expecting this to be as smooth as you might want it to be.
Minions have spawned.
No, it will not be as smooth as possible. Of course, would be said. Joshi is a sub. As we see the zoom in for Civlock. Look at this skin, by the way. Nice skin. What skin is this? Is this Super Galaxy Corky? Astronaut.
There
Right,
you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, But yeah, no, big skins this game. But yeah, no, the pick composition that you have on the side of Yubi. I was talking to Red a little bit before this game started, and he said that he was relatively certain that Yubi was going to play dive. They were ready to deal with the dive. They were ready to deal with certain stuff. And I'll be honest with you, I looked at the notes that he gave me for this draft, and they went out the window immediately. There was no plan that could have prepared them for this. The pick composition coming in, they're really expecting them to have the better vision control. They're going to need to on the side of Yubi. They need to have better vision control, and they have it with the Ashe. They have it, hopefully, with the lane priority that they have mid lane. And they'll be able to make some stuff happen, but they're going to rely on getting these snowballs in 1v3s, and then just taking that to the bank and just ending this game early. But you have to end it early. You're playing into Ziggs. That's going to be really hard to end early into. You're playing into Kog'Maw. You have to end that game early, as we see Brian walking up, getting some pressure down. But I don't think they're going to fall for it in the spot lane.
Ooh, close. BBZ probably has the better late game. It's actually interesting since Corky's late game is really, really disgusting. Same with Ashe. Ashe late game is actually pretty good with the arrow cooldown being so low. Kha'Zix kind of bad in the late game just because he's really strong in the early game and you need isolated targets. In late game, usually that means a lot of team fights. So we're going to see a gank in the top lane by Trundle, by the way.
It's just Dax rolling in there trying to get some stuff down. Doesn't seem to burn. And I just noticed that this Shen running Ignite. So he's going to be lacking the overall map pressure that you can have with Shen to go one side back to the other, but the Ignite for the lane presence, and also Jaffe not running the kind of standard Ignite TP that you'd expect on this Camille.
He is not. Jaffe is he's most comfortable on this on Shyvana and Camille, of course. Those are probably his favorite champions in all of League, actually. So I'm actually pretty high on Jaffe. It's Camille in the moment. I think his biggest problem actually is he's really improving, as I can see right there from the quick pan, is that his wave management is pretty poor sometimes. He gets behind by CS, unfortunately, and these kind of things. And he's in technically a counter matchup. I mean, Shen isn't a hard counter, but it is a counter matchup to Camille, who can just block the Q damage from Camille, of course, with the true damage being so huge.
So as we see trade coming in here top lane, but they don't realize necessarily, Jaffe doesn't realize the utility monster is just waiting right in the wings there. He's down on minions. We might actually be looking at a dive here up in the top lane as the Kha'Zix walks into the blue side jungle. There's nothing available there. Civlock has recalled. And now just looking for the invade is going to lose some time here, utility monster. But the recall being done for Dax, just missing out on some camp timings, missing out on some stuff. Maybe he's going to walk into that mid lane, maybe start to look at red. Obviously red being vulnerable, but just probably going to take that recall, maybe cancel it.
Utility monster, of course, is actually the most unsung hero, in my opinion, of all of UB. Of course, Freelancer, of course, is another unsung hero. A lot of people are super high on Civlock. mid laner and Jeff, the AD carry, but Utility Monster does a lot of things for his team that goes understated. He actually is the jungler that I think keeps the team together in the sense that he's actually more of like a backup. We saw this with the in out your mouth really, who is more giving to his lanes and backing up his lanes, which is a lot of what Utility Monster and Dax both do.
Yeah.
There are a lot of junglers that really make up for the lanes. You see why Shen counters Camille, by the way.
Yeah,
and he's getting all that damage.
Yeah, no damage being done. We see the Civlock has that very nice ward down on the Raptors. Gonna see the Trundle. Got the ward down covering bot side. He's got his jungler there. Gonna just be good to just let this Trundle farm up, and I don't know how effective that's actually gonna be for them. Just to let Trundle farm. I feel like Trundle needs to get into these lanes and maybe just start to create some goal difference, but just for now, getting spotted out. Just gonna go clear his jungle, and again, this deep ward. Look at this deep ward from Utility Monster, and again, they track the Trundle up to the top side of the map.
YUBI and BBZ are surprisingly actually one of the slower teams. I feel like teams usually associate YUBI with being a faster team, but I actually think that they're a little bit slower. I think that their macro is the best part about YUBI, surprisingly. I know they roll over a lot of teams in past going 13-1, I believe it was.
Oh yeah, it was something ridiculous.
It was 13-1, but actually they usually win by their macro sense. I think that they're they have a lot of, even though they went 13-1 and won last year, they actually have a lot of spots that you can exploit with YUBI.
Yeah. Oh yeah, nobody here is going to be perfect. I think YUBI's definitely going to have to try and play to their strengths right now. And I think, honestly, you're talking about unsung heroes. Brian, one of those massive strengths for them last season, just being able to dictate entire games.
Yeah.
With just those priority picks. And honestly, this Blitzcrank, obviously going to be hard to try and get some picks right now. He's probably going to be looking more to that mid game with that Blitzcrank and just trying to disrupt some stuff. But
ooh, this getting set up dive here. If they can kill Joshi, this is huge. I don't think that it's going to work, but
I think it's way too hard to dive a Shen there with the pair of auto attackers. I don't see it happening. Obviously, you can do the aggro switch with the Camille, but he just hits W. That's all it is. I think if they could have burned it ahead of time, maybe, but not going to happen. Trundle's already found the recall. We have first dragon up.
And Jaffe right here, which is interesting, was a very good slow push because the now that the dragon is up. But of course, the jungler's up there, he's pretty much insta-dead. This is one of the problems with Jaffe is that again, his wave management sometimes is very poor. He doesn't think about where the jungler can be, as there's going to be a free...
Yeah, just free. I don't think that there's any good way for BBZ to really walk in on this dragon. Not really having the composition to deal with it this early. Obviously, they have the boots done on Kog'Maw. I'm missing the starting item. I didn't catch what he started. Did he start longsword? I didn't catch that.
Kog'Maw?
Well, yeah, no, like... it's just boots. Did he start boots? He might have started boots. It's an option on Cog. Anywho. But like obviously they don't have the damage from Kog'Maw yet. Really you need 2 items, I think, for Kog'Maw to really start matching. Normally it's about 3, but you have this Lulu here, which is going to give him some extra damage. I don't think Ziggs is ready to match anything that Corki's going to be able to do. Obviously they excel in different sections, but I think
first gank here by Utility Monster.
Yeah, maybe. Starting to look in. That pink ward goes down. There's the hook. Jeff God Gamer starting to get some damage down. He is exhausted at the moment. There's the TP in from Shen. And Orphic goes down, but the flash taunt, and then there's the arrow from Jeff just going down. Dax just kind of there to watch the team fall. Nothing much he could do there. And Jaffe with TP available, Red with TP available. They had a TP disadvantage on the side of YUBI, and they were still able to make the more positive map play. That's normally when you expect to see those.
With Taz last game, what the bot lane does so poorly is that if they want to go aggressive, which is what Taz wants to do, is that they refuse to have their lane be they're close to their tower. They always perma push, which is what YUBI just did. They did not perma push. They let their tower, let the minions come to them. They fought the tower, and then they get 4 people bot lane, and they're insta dead. That's a long lane to run.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's the real struggle with some of those side lanes is you're pushed up, and you're pushed up a long ways. I'm really like I'm shocked that we have the TP available from Red, we have the TP available from Jaffe, and it's not even that it was a late response. There's no response, and I don't think they found anything on the map outside of that. All the plates are still at mid lane. You expect to see Ziggs taking plates if he has that extra time to himself. Obviously, he didn't, but I'm really shocked that they didn't try and prioritize that Kog'Maw. That Kog'Maw is going to be such a lifeblood for this team comp moving into like the 20, 25, 30 minute mark. That, it might struggle to actually make it there. Now Jaffe going for a trade topside. Dax not too far behind. This ultimate from the Camille is going to keep him there. There's no flash available for Jushi right now, but he just gets out on that. The flash down from Jaffe, but now Utility Monster's here, and this Trundle is isolated under turret. Ulti popped, getting those stats away from Shen, but now look at these low health bars. Look at this Kha'Zix waiting in the wing, just being able to take these. Look at Sivlock coming up with the roam with the package, taking down Dax and Jaffe, and oh my, YUBI just playing this map perfectly at the moment.
Red, of course, they knew Sivlock is coming. I think at this point they should have just tried to turn and try to kill the Shen if they could. They're pretty much dead at this point with the package. Of course, Corki player is the most important thing about Corki players. What separates a good Corki player to a bad Corki player is the package. And Ziggs, the problem with him being mid and why I think he's a way better bot laner just because his roams are horrible for a mid laner. He's just so slow.
And he's trying to keep up with this push from the Corki, and like honestly, Ziggs' wave clear, especially at this point in the game, feels oppressive bot lane. It's about par for the course mid lane. You know, like you expect that the mid lane's just going to get repeatedly shoved in. It's just kind of how it works. And we saw him there running up top lane after Sivlock with no mana. He's got the TP available. He could have recalled. Like, we have options here, and just Red not being ready to catch that rotation, and he had the time to react to it. They knew he was coming up, but yeah, just again, these TPs being available, they're still both up, and they're not making any use out of them. Just run Ignite, run Barrier, run something else. If the TP is not going to be made use of, it's, you know, no point taking it.
Look at this difference in wave management by YUBI compared to BBZ. This is a huge slow push right now. Jeff might be overstaying his welcome right here. He might
and you can't afford to lose this wave as the Kog'Maw. You have to get kill pickups now. Jeff has flash available. There's the Shen ulti. And again, no TP's being channeled by BBZ as they're losing this fight. We could expect them. They could have 5v3 at this moment, but instead, Dax just goes down to Brian Sang, and now there's a dive onto this Kog'Maw. 4 members of YUBI down to bot lane. And now you'd expect by now there was some sort of TP, but no! The pressure continues to rain down on this bot lane, and the gold lead starts to become too big. 5k at the 10-minute mark. YUBI, you were talking about their macro. They do not need teleports. That is just a crutch. Look at this gold difference in the bot lane, almost 2k. Massive gold lead in the mid lane, massive gold lead in the jungle, and there's the first turret coming down thanks to Shelly.
This is absolutely inexcusable with BBZ. They have TP for a lot of these fights, and they have yet to use it. Why are you not TPing when your bot lane is getting dove like that? Or when you're doing that gank earlier, like you said, they have yet to use TP. Jaffe had TP, and Shen, of course, is not. He only has ulti. The problem with having Shen have Ignite and not teleport is that he gets behind in levels, which of course he is right now. I mean, I think he just leveled up right now, but the problem is Jaffe is not getting ahead from this level lead. Shen's, as he levels up right now to level 9, with tied with Jaffe, you got to use his teleport at some point. You're just holding on to it.
Yeah.
From both Jaffe and Red.
You can push a bigger XP lead with it if that's what the option. If there's not being played, if there's no plays on the map, obviously you can use the teleport. You can push your gold lead, push your XP lead because you have the teleport advantage always. You can be there for dragons like this. Obviously they don't want to contest this one, but the reason they don't want to contest this one is because they've had so many negative fights around the map by just being out rotated. And here's another situation where the rotations are just available. There's going to be no TP coming in now. The pull goes down onto Dax. Obviously Red long gone. Dax walking away with that Lulu ultimate, and again, we have 4 people here for YUBI. These rotations have been completely unmatched. Tef is just going to try and grab some CS in the bot lane, but this is catch-up. This is not pushing him ahead.
It's a solid gank. Right now it's 0-8, by the way. It's being flawless. The Catboy has been very vocal on how confident they are, and you can see why right now. They're just out macroing teams, exactly what they did last year. BBZ, who a lot of people are high on, including myself, are just being out macro, being outpaced.
Yeah, and again, I still think that in draft, this composition still, or like these 2 compositions goes to the favor of BBZ. The difference is that YUBI is playing to their advantages right now, and BBZ is not playing anything. They're just losing out on these map positions. I say that, then there's an engage from Jaffe. Sivlock has flash, can get out of this, but there is the ulti from Camille. There's the TP in from Shen, and all of a sudden this fight turns. Dax has showed up to the top lane. Jaffe's so low on HP, gets the engage onto Sivlock. Sivlock very low, just down to 200 HP. I think that no, Dax isn't going to be able to find this kill. Yes, flashing in with the Q, but now does he find his way out away from Jushi? Jushi does have this. It does have the taunt coming up very, very soon. Yes, there it is. Gets the damage under tower. Picks up that kill. That is the first kill picked up by BBZ onto Dax. But they give 2 over.
The problem with BBZ in general is I think they don't respect Shen ulti either. Like, they're doing a lot of these plays, and Shen shows up with his ulti, and it's either they're not TPing or they're just forgetting maybe that Shen has ulti. Maybe they're not understanding the cooldown. Maybe they don't understand the timer. But this, again, they've been baited by Shen ulti time in and time out. I think it's the third time.
That every single time when Shen is in the game, you need to respect the fact that you're never fighting a 1v1. The only time you're ever fighting a 1v1 when there's a Shen in the game is when it's against Shen. And BBZ hasn't respected that. Jaffe just didn't respect that. I think that they've run into problems bot lane, and again, these just lack of teleports. They should have more map pressure on the side of BBZ. They should be reacting to these a little bit faster, and they haven't. And once again, just getting out-rotated. Dax, not there yet. Jaffe already taking the damage. He's probably not going to get Juicy here. No, doesn't happen. Utility Monster picks up the kill, and this gold lead gets bigger.
And you said that whenever you're having a 1v1 against Shen, it's usually... The only time you get a 1v1 against Shen is if you're 1v1ing Shen. And I actually think it's not true at all. If you're 1v1ing Shen, usually the jungler is there because Shen's setup for ganks are just insane with the taunt and the blocking. He can really wait and
just set stuff up for free.
Stall time.
I think the only problem that Yubi's going to start to run into as this game goes later is who their starting top laner is going to be, as this ultimate lands from Jeff God Gamer, and we were talking about the pick potential of this composition. There's no way out, Red. Welcome to the Blitzcrank Hook, and Jaffe TP's in. Here's the first use of this TP to try and get a play on, try and swing the numbers, but that Shen ulti not up yet. Jaffe maybe gonna pick up Sivlock. Yes, he does. Now can they win this fight? They see Utility Monster. They have to stay grouped now. Keep away from the Cosmic's Isolation damage. We see Dax running in. Jaffe tries to go back in and get a little bit of damage off. He's at the end of his health bar. Now to the new 2v2 between Dax and Orphic, and it is going to end there as Jeff God Gamer picks up the tower in the top side after just sniping Red on the way by.
See our boy Brian just taking the kill, saying that support need wages too. Shout out to Chris Sunga, who's refusing to give me my wages, my channel points, by the way.
And we see that Tef has been locked down in the spot lane for, let's see, I'm gonna be conservative and call it 5 minutes. All right, I mean, that's on the high end of how long he's been down there. He's picked up 30 CS. You need to be, when you're not under a lot of pressure. We've seen how much pressure that YUBI has been putting on the other parts of this map. You need to be picking up more than that. If you're by yourself in a lane, if there's 5 minutes to go by, you need to pick up 50, or you need to pick up even 60. Like, it's possible. Just stay in that lane, stay focused, just get that farm. I haven't seen him move out of the bot lane too much. There hasn't been a lot of pressure on Tef. He hasn't died. He hasn't been in any big fights. He needs to be picking up more gold right now as that Kog'Maw. Regardless, I think he's going for the tank, the tankier Kog'Maw build right now, but you can still out damage an entire team. But the entire team isn't here. Red going down immediately. Next on to Dax, trying to find some damage. The ultimate comes out from Jeff, just trying to slow down Dax. Dax actually has a lot of HP now thanks to this Lulu, but I don't think it's going to happen. The pull from Brian saying, great call to go for the Lulu there, and I think Dax is going to only barely escape, but great option there to just try and pick up as much gold as possible. And I think they're going to just move onto this bot turret while Cosmic solos Drake.
Very smart, like you said, by Brian to switch targets and hook the Lulu. A lot of people would not expect that. I don't think Orphic expected that at all. Of course, support is his secondary role, and he's switching it just for BBZ. Interesting that they just, I don't know how, I've never seen a Blast Cone play really work like that. Usually Blast Cone is straight in, and they Blast Cone over with 3 members, and they catch out Ziggs. Of course, Ziggs is very susceptible to ganks, which is why I think he's more important.
Sivlock knows. Sivlock can win this fight if he tries, but no, look at the disengage from Jaffe. He knows. He knows that the Shen can be there. That is just a leash over to Sivlock, and that is going to be at least 1 mid lane turret. Jaffe walking away dejected, as that was their only clawback. They were trying to go cross map, maybe just calling Jaffe like, hey, if you can pick this up, maybe we can get some gold onto one of our carries. It just doesn't happen.
You know, Escape, I actually think I cursed my boy Jaffe right here. I talked to some of the YUBI boys, Jeff and Utility Monster, about Jaffe doing these plays where he randomly decides to just take a Rift Herald. He does this a lot, especially when I play with him. He would just, we used to call it just Jaffe doing Jaffe things, which is very random macro plays where he would sneak out a Rift Herald, and Sivlock finds it out. Maybe there's vision on it, or...
Yeah, no, and like the thing is that if that goes uncaught, you know, there's no wards down there when that happens, I'm pretty sure. That's a good play. If you can pick that up, you can get some trade back. That's obviously, it's only about 3 minion waves worth of gold, but that's all that BBZ's really been able to pick up for the last little bit. So, you know, that is a huge, you know, jump in income. That would be really important. but instead it goes over to Civlock. And now this gold lead just gets, you know, the gold lead's building 500 a minute. It's just becoming so big on the side of YUBI. I don't know how BBZ wants to try and claw their way back in. Obviously, they have the win condition. Red can clear ways forever. That's you know, beyond a shadow of a doubt. It's very challenging to ever siege against Ziggs, regardless of how fed you are. You need to find a way in. YUBI's been good at that so far. I say that. Brian's saying now caught out of position, uses flash. I think that's all that's going to be at that play. No, Orphic gets hooked. Trying to clear vision, no reason to be doing that. Jeff grabs the kill, grabs a rampage. There's the cleanse from Tef to get away from that ulti from Jeff. Look at the aggression here. How does he get in there? Ooh, big ulti damage there. Is there going to be a flash from Jaffe? No, ulting onto Jeff, dodging the Blitzcrank hook, but I think it's just going to go down. There's no damage from this Kog'Maw yet. It's just on the wit's end. The bomb from Red, grabbing that kill. Now Utility Monster flashes over the wall, now knows what the Kog'Maw is. Kog'Maw walking back into Jeff here, kind of caught between the rock and a hard place here. There's nowhere for him to go, and now we were talking about the Ziggs wave clear. That's about all that BBZ has left.
Unfortunately, this again, every single time we pan to this mid lane, I swear Brian Sang is just hooking people, and they're just dying.
Yeah, just consistently catching them out. Oh, and speaking of being caught out, look at Red getting caught here by the taunt, but I think that polymorph is going to be enough to peel him off unless he decides to walk up and find out that there is a monster in those woods. No, backing away. Just going to get that second charge off. Maybe they're going to rotate for something. I don't know. They just take away some gold. They don't really have to focus too much right now. Jeff is so far ahead on this Ashe. Utility Monster is so far ahead on the Kha'Zix. We were talking about how scary Kha'Zix can be. Obviously, Gold Swing champion. He's either winning or boy is he losing. And right now, it's on the winning side of this.
At the moment, BBZ has the student loans debt equivalent.
Oh no.
To YUBI. Brian has the shark, the Jaws theme. Every single time I see him near this Lulu, I can literally just hear the Jaws theme playing in the background.
It's
every
weird.
single time.
I always feel like Brian's been the shark, but I really expected that to go away on this Blitzcrank. He expected on Nautilus, Leona. He's normally with that, but you know, just playing the pick champion, he's still the most terrifying man on the Rift. I don't understand how he still causes this much pressure. He is not missing.
What I really like about Brian is that these hook champs, what he really does well is people don't understand that the threatening of the hook is almost just as important as the actual hook. Because we Jaffe going in against Joshi.
There's the ulti burnt already from Jeff, but now Orphic caught out of position. There goes Jushi. We see the TP available from Red. Has not popped it, trying to walk into this fight. The ultimate is available. Dax now just taking damage from saying, there's no way Kog'Maw's going to peel you. There's the ultimate. It barely catches the end of Civlock, and now Jaffe's caught out of position trying to save his jungler that was never getting out of there. And whoa, look who just revealed their position to the Kha'Zix, isolated in the jungle. That W is going to slow you down forever, and no! Red just walks out. Very surprised to see that, but again, TP was available to reposition there.
I don't know if Fred is texting his girlfriend, texting his mom to pick him up because he's scared if he needs an adult, but he was just sitting in that bush, by the way, near that destroyed mid tower for, I'd say, a solid 20 seconds before the fight even began. He literally did nothing, misses his ulti. I think he only hits one person his ulti right there, and then goes down to the Kha'Zix.
14k gold. The gold lead cannot get much bigger because kills are not worth much anymore. YUBI is most simply just going to walk in and end this game at their own leisure, at their own pace. The universal basic income seems to be a lot higher than a lot of us expected because everyone's just rolling in it right now. This dragon's going to go down. That's sole point. The team that had no tankiness is suddenly covered in shields, covered in armor, magic resist, and everything that they need to win. The only person that benefits from that is Dax.
The 23-minute Soul Mountain, by the way, which is probably almost as fast as you can possibly get it, by the way, in the league.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, they have Baron right now, and Ziggs at this point in time cannot clear out Baron very easily. He needs more like 3 items before he can really start doing that.
Yep.
And we have Blitz right now who's just walking around, just BDEing right to Dax.
There's the now Dax just running straight in there, but he hasn't gotten any damage off yet. Jeff goes legendary, taking down Tef. Second target, Orphic goes down. Here goes Jaffe. And how do you keep your mental up on this situation right now? It is just Red remaining on that Airy pickup. But what do? You're Ziggs, you're 1v5. This tower goes down. The next tower goes down. I don't know when these death timers start to matter. But YUBI, deciding to play it safe. Maybe moving towards this bot lane. They can absolutely get this turret. Nothing stopping them from grabbing this. The only person that Baron buff right now is Shen. They can grab the second inhib. They can make their rotation to top lane, and that'll be it. I do not know. There has to be some catastrophic mistake on the side of Jeff that goes directly into the Kog'Maw's pocket about 3 times. I don't know what kind of mistake it's going to take from YUBI, who's been playing unbelievably cleanly so far, to give BBZ a chance to get back in this game.
By the way, Jeff and all of YUBI were super serious about winning the KDA race, and they were hating on Fish McGish, who's an INT sub, I believe. And right now, Jeff is winning this KDA right now. He's clean. He has not died once. I'm hoping he died just so I can talk about it in lounge. But
18 KP and a 25 kill game. Something to be said about that. That Ashe has been more than efficient. You can sometimes see Ashe just turn into an assist bot, you know, just playing for slows, playing for ulti. It's totally available. Jeff doesn't know what that is. Jeff is just going for kills. Jeff is getting off all the damage. There's a Trundle running at him. There's a Camille running at him. They're both empowered by Lulu. There's a Mega Inferno Bomb coming down, and he freezes the entire fight. It's so hard to try and find something. That did not pop the Banshee's Veil. I learned something new today.
It did not pop Banshee's Veil, unfortunately.
I think he moved him, but yeah. No,
it doesn't even knock up. I'm not sure if it's up.
Oh! Surprise Brian over the wall. And we see Jushi just pushing bot side. This sub just fitting into the role perfectly. Here comes the 1-4.
Brian is cosplaying as the Ocean Man, and he's trying to take him to the land that they do not understand. Just trying to hook people. Whenever he's like the assassin Blitzcrank. If you hook someone, you're pretty much dead with how far ahead someone is right now. This is a 20k gold lead. BBZ right now is taking out a freaking college loan right now. They're that much in debt to YUBI at the moment.
I don't know where this pace has come from. Like, obviously, we know that these guys are good. They won last season for a reason. They're very, very strong. They will continue to be strong. This is so much. This is, I don't know if this is the gold lead that we've seen recently. I don't think we've seen it this week at all yet. And I don't think this will be matched anytime soon. This is a ridiculous amount of gold to have at the 26-minute mark. And with a sub top laner, Brian just missing the flash hook there. But yeah, no, this is just going to gradually push into the base. Really slow. Jeff is stuck on the trophy, looking for victory. He got caught in the wrong place, but now he's going to be moving towards that Nexus. And I think it's one fight to close this one. There has to be a monumental mistake right now from YUBI.
Unfortunately, it's just going to be a wallet dip no matter what happens.
Brian
takes...
There goes Dax. Next on the chopping block seems to be Tef. No, they both flashed out. The ulti from Jaffe really has not died all that quickly. Hold on, there's 2 kills going over the Kog'Maw. This is exactly what they needed. Does he stay alive? No. Extremely unfortunate, because those were the kills that they needed going over to that Kog'Maw. I can't imagine how much gold he just picked up on that, but there's only a certain amount of gold that matters this game. It's the 50 gold that's going to be picked up by YUBI on this win. Great job to Jeff. He picks it up. And that is no clean way of saying it. That was a stomp.
That was definitely a stomp. I talked to my boy Orphic, and I like to say that it was an Orphic diff a lot. And I think it was an Orphic diff just for YUBI at this time. Brian was so disgusting, by the way. If I had to give someone the MVP, I'd probably give it to Brian, despite Jeff's really good KDA. Believe it or not, I think Brian actually is the most important part about the YUBI bot lane that is so strong in general.
Wow, yeah. Well, it's hard to outdamage the Ziggs, but in a game like that, it really isn't. I think that Jushi also did a great job subbing in, honestly, just playing such a map-relevant Shen, even without that teleport. I think those TPs are something that BBZ is going to have to look at moving forward. I think there was maybe 2 teleports that entire game from their whole roster. They're running 2 TPs. But yeah, no, we're going to be looking at this matchup in the future. We're going to be looking at this game, just seeing how much this dictates YUBI's future. And just dominant league. But we're going to be moving over to our interview, taking over this last game with YUBI.
With Jeff God Gamer, dude, the man, the myth, the legend, the man with the nice hair, the sandwich consumer.
Look at him go. All right, don't go anywhere. Final interview of the night.
Continues ジェンストン小眼流大魔力術許しを得たのが不実寛永2年冬イラコ制限の仕置き追放から11ヶ月
素手で
野良犬相手に表トークは用いぬ
Hello everyone, welcome back for the final interview of day 1 for Luna. I'm joined by the victorious, the returning champion, Jeff God Gamer. Welcome back to the interview desk. How are you feeling after the big win?
I'm feeling pretty good. It's been a while since we got to play FOF, and it feels really nice to be back.
Yeah, it's a long time coming, and clearly didn't seem that there was too much, there was any rust to be seen actually on the YUBI play today. It was quite the clean game from you folks. Talk to me a little bit, if you would, about what it was like getting ready for the returned Friend or Foe series. You folks shifted into our Luna bracket. There are still quite a few familiar faces from last time that are over in that side of the bracket as well. But what was it like getting ready for this season, and especially having this matchup against BBZ to start things off?
Yeah, we really prepped a lot coming into this season. I think Brian was practicing his positioning by playing Final Fantasy. He beat the main story. He's onto the end game raids now, so it's a true test of positioning to make sure that he can dodge the AoEs. And for me personally, today was kind of a stressful day. I started a new semester of school, and I started a new job. So with all the uncertainty and like the stress of all this new stuff, it does feel quite nice to know that BBZ is still free and I can end my day in a familiar way.
I love it. Yeah, it's always good to come back to that tried and true. Like every now and then, I just like to watch Rush Hour 2. It's just like a fun movie. It's a reminder of my childhood. For Jeff here, though, with the stressful day, just nice to come home and just clap out, a quick game against BBZ. So respect. Let's talk about this game against BBZ, though. So it was quite a commanding win for YUBI on this return to the grand final matchup. What were your thoughts on what you folks put together in this game? You did have Jushi subbing in on the Shen with the Ignite, which was spicy. He was all over the map. But yeah, you were on the much more typical Ashe. Talk to me a little bit about what you folks put together, and then lining up against that Cog Lulu on the other side.
Yeah, for us, it was mostly business as usual for our draft. We didn't really want to change too much since the formula was so dominant last season that we don't really think we need to show anything new just yet while we fill out all the new teams. The only real addition is Kha'Zix, which is one of Utility Monster's favorite champions, and he can pretty much play any jungler and have a carry performance on it. But going into Kog'Maw Lulu, we really like the Blitzcrank into it, and Kog'Maw struggles against Ashe because Ashe can keep up range with Kog'Maw W, and they they let us freeze on them a couple times, which was pretty devastating to their lane. And then in a lot of those times, we were able to get a crash and get Dragon off of it, or have Brian hit a hook on them trying to walk up to break our freeze. So it just sort of accelerated our bot lane in a way that was almost impossible for them to come back from. Because if they ever brought Trundle down, we were able to have Joshi just give up his top wave and channel down to save us. So we really happier with the draft. I think once again, Utility Monsters is smart with these drafts as long as he doesn't pick a super boring champions.
I was certainly expecting to see with the Ignite for Jushi in the top lane. I was wondering how that was gonna go, if he was gonna play more, because his ult is his only form of teleport. It's like, hey, I'm gonna use this more of a like when we really want something, and just play around his lane a little bit more with Utility Monster and play around that Ignite plus the burst that Kha'Zix can bring when you're building.
I think Jaffe definitely did try to play around the lack of teleport quite well. He did set up a pretty strong freeze top lane when Joshi tried to roam, but I think we were still able to get more on the other side of the map, and Joshi's definitely a player that's just like, well, I don't need to farm anymore, let's fight people.
Yeah,
So
time to
I
break out
still
that
think
River Shen, man.
yeah, he ended up playing River Shen for a little bit.
Well, as you say, this is a return to normalcy for us around here in the Friend or Foe series. We saw the classic Jeff God Gamer and Brian Sang gap in the bottom lane. If you have any thoughts here on what you have in store, the two of you, and how you feel about your matchup here for the rest of the series against these teams in Luna.
Yeah, I actually haven't spent a whole lot of time looking at the other bot lanes in Luna. I've been mostly focusing on my new job and the Helios power rankings, and Utility Monster does most of the prep work for me. So I think just that mindset, kind of going in without really seeing what players play, just sort of basically playing with nameplates off. And I still think with that mindset, me and Brian kind of just beat every bot lane because Brian's too good. And I'm actually starting to not just brainlessly push waves anymore and starting to, set up freezes and crashes. So I think me and Brian are even stronger, even though he has been grinding out Final Fantasy. So I think every bot lane in Luna should still strongly prepare for us, because we will end your lane very easily.
I won't even insult your intelligence by asking whether or not YUBI is going to make it into the playoffs. I only ask you, is it a run back? Are we seeing you in the grand finals?
I have a hard time seeing it happen any other way.
There you have it, folks. You're competing for that extra spot against YUBI in the finals. A commanding win for Universal Basic Income to start off our season and to end our first day of Luna. Jeff, thanks so much for the interview as always. Do you have any final thoughts, any banter, any praise that you want to leave us with on the desk?
Yeah, I know I trash talk BBZ a little bit, but I do want to give them a shout out, because we definitely had a disconnect issue, and I feel like they could have just been like, hey, we don't really want to wait half an hour to start this game, but they were very kind in letting us wait to be able to play the game. So big shout out to them.
This is that time. Riot, please. Rito, please. We need to bring back honorable opponent. There's definitely a 5 honorable opponent for this game for sure. Yeah, we always from the tournament organizer standpoint, always appreciate the kindness and the goodwill and sportsmanship of many of our players around this stuff.
The last thing I have to say is the Catboy dream is still alive. 7-0, here we come.
Catboy gang, let's go. All right, well, folks, that's it for us on the first day of Luna. We have more action coming up tomorrow, starting off with the Church of Alfonso making their debut on the Rift against Skill-Based. So don't miss that game. We're hoping to kick off tomorrow, 4:30, with our second day of Luna action. This is Chris Edgeworth here on the interview desk. Thanks again to all of our winners, to all of our interviewees, to all of our teams participating. And folks, we hope to see you again tomorrow. Good night.